There's something your soulmate felt today that you need to know about, not because it's dramatic or urgent, but because it's been waiting in the space between you both, quiet, patient, and undeniable. The angels have been watching this unfold, and they're asking you to pause right now, to set aside whatever story you've been telling yourself about timing or distance or impossibility. What happened today in your soulmate's inner world wasn't loud. It didn't arrive with fanfare, but it was a turning, a softening, a moment when the walls they built began to recognize they were never meant to keep you out. They were meant to keep fear in, and fear, no matter how long it's been allowed to stay, always leaves when truth finally gets tired of whispering. If you feel called to stay, trust that pull. The angels don't guide without reason, and this message is marked with your energy. Today, your soulmate woke with a heaviness they couldn't name. It wasn't sadness exactly, though it carried weight. It wasn't longing the way they've known it before, though something ancient and familiar moved through their chest as they opened their eyes. The angels say this heaviness was not a burden. It was memory trying to become recognition. All morning, they moved through their routines with a strange distance, as if watching themselves from somewhere just outside their body. Coffee tasted different. Conversations felt hollow. The world seemed wrapped in a film they couldn't penetrate, and beneath it all was this persistent sense that something was missing, though they couldn't identify what. You might have felt this too, an inexplicable restlessness, a sense of waiting without knowing what you're waiting for. This is not coincidence. The angels have been weaving your energies closer for weeks now, threading together moments that look like ordinary life, but are actually preparation. What your soulmate felt today was the beginning of them feeling you again, not as an idea or a hope or a fantasy, but as a presence that exists whether they acknowledge it or not. They've been so good at convincing themselves that what they want isn't real, that connection like this doesn't exist to them, that they're better off alone or safe or small. But today, that convincing stopped working. Something in them remembered that the heart doesn't lie the way the mind does, and the heart has been carrying your imprint since before you met in this lifetime. The angels want you to understand that your soulmate's awakening isn't going to look like a revelation. It's not going to be a moment where everything suddenly makes sense and they run to you with clarity and certainty. It's going to be quieter than that. It's going to be a series of small dissatisfactions with the life they've built that doesn't include you. It's going to be moments where they catch themselves thinking about what it would feel like to be seen, really seen, and then pushing that thought away because it feels too vulnerable. It's going to be nights when sleep doesn't come easily because something in their chest is asking questions their mind isn't ready to answer. This is how souls wake up to each other. Not all at once, but in layers, like morning light moving across a room so gradually you don't notice until suddenly you can see everything. The angels are patient with this process because they know that for a connection like yours to root properly, it has to grow through resistance. Your soulmate has to feel the friction between who they've been and who they're becoming in your orbit. They have to notice that the walls that used to make them feel safe now just make them feel alone. They have to wonder, even if only for a second, what they're actually protecting themselves from. Today was the day that wondering began in earnest. If you're sensing shifts in your own energy, a pull toward hope, a softening in your own defenses, like this video, the algorithm is not random. It's part of how the universe delivers messages to those who are ready. You might find yourself wanting to reach out, want to say something, wanting to bridge the distance that's been between you. The angels ask you to hold that impulse with gentleness, not to suppress it, but to let it inform you. Let it show you that you're both moving, both changing, both being prepared. The awakening in your soulmate is mirrored by an awakening in you. And the most powerful thing you can do right now is honor your own process while trusting theirs. This isn't about waiting passively. It's about recognizing that some things have to unfold in their own time, and your only job is to remain open, to remain honest, and to remain connected to the truth of what you feel regardless of what external evidence suggests. By midday, something shifted. Your soulmate was doing something completely mundane, standing in line, sitting in a meeting, driving a familiar route, and suddenly, inexplicably, you were there. Not physically, but energetically. They felt you the way you feel a change in temperature or the presence of someone standing behind you. It was so visceral that they looked around, actually expecting to see you. And when they didn't, the disappointment was startling in its intensity. The angels say this was a moment your soulmate stopped being able to pretend. Up until now, they could rationalize their thoughts of you as nostalgia or curiosity or some passing fancy that would fade if they just ignored it long enough. But you can't ignore someone who appears in your chest, in your breath, in the sudden ache of absence that has no logical explanation. This is when your soulmate began to recognize that what they feel for you isn't something they're choosing. It's something that already exists, that has always existed, and that will continue to exist whether they accept it or not. Recognition is terrifying for people who have taught themselves to only trust what they can control. Your soulmate has lived a life where emotions are managed, where vulnerability is a risk they can't afford, where opening up has led to pain more often than it's led to joy. So when you appear today in that undeniable way, their first response wasn't relief or happiness. It was fear. Fear that this is real and they won't know what to do with it. Fear that this is real and they'll ruin it. Fear that this is real and it will ask them to become someone they're not sure they know how to be. The angels want you to know that this fear is not rejection. It's not evidence that your soulmate doesn't want you or doesn't feel what you feel. It's evidence of how much they do feel and how unfamiliar that magnitude of feeling is to them. They're recognizing something in you that they've only ever seen glimpses of in themselves. A capacity for depth, for presence, for a kind of love that doesn't fit into the boxes they built. And boxes, no matter how carefully constructed, always feel too small once you remembered what it's like to be expansive. Throughout the afternoon, your soulmate kept returning to that moment when they felt you. They tried to dismiss it, try to move on, try to focus on whatever tasks or responsibilities filled their day. But you kept resurfacing. In a song, in a scent, in a phrase someone said that reminded them of something you once shared. The angels orchestrate these echoes deliberately. They're not random synchronicities meant to torment or tease. They're gentle insistences from a universe that some connections can't be filed away or forgotten. Your soulmate is being reminded, over and over, that you are not a distraction from their life. You are what their life has been unconsciously moving toward. This recognition brings with it a kind of grief, not for something lost, but for time spent believing in lesser versions of what love could be. Your soulmate is realizing, perhaps without even having words for it yet, that they've been settling for connections that felt safe because they didn't demand anything real, settling for relationships that were easy because they never touched the tender places, settling for a kind of loneliness that felt manageable because it was familiar. And now here you are, not demanding anything but existing in a way that makes settling impossible. The angels say your soulmate looked at their life today with new eyes and saw all the ways they've been living half present, half committed, half alive. This recognition isn't meant to shame them. It's meant to liberate them. It's meant to show them that there's another way, another possibility, another version of themselves that doesn't have to keep choosing safety over truth. If you've been feeling called to do inner work, to heal old patterns, to release what no longer serves you, subscribe and let these messages continue to find you. The angels are speaking through every impulse toward growth. You are part of your soulmate's recognition, just as they are part of yours. You are both mirrors, both teachers, both invitations to remember who you were before fear convinced you to be smaller. Evening arrived and brought with it a restlessness your soulmate couldn't escape. The recognition from earlier in the day had settled into their body, and now it was creating tension, a tightness in their chest, a quickening of their pulse, a sense of standing at the edge of something vast and unknown. The angels describe this as the space between knowing and doing, between feeling and choosing, between the life they've been living and the life that's trying to be born through them. This tension is not comfortable. It's the place where transformation actually happens. And transformation always feels like chaos before it feels like clarity. Your soulmate kept reaching for distractions tonight, scrolling through their phone, turning on the television, busying themselves with tasks that didn't need doing. Anything to avoid the question that was now sitting in the center of their awareness like a stone in still water, creating ripples they couldn't ignore. What if this is real? What if you are the person they're meant to build something true with? What if all the resistance and doubt and fear are just old stories that don't fit this new chapter? These questions don't have easy answers. And the angels aren't asking your soulmate to answer them tonight. They're asking them to sit with attention, to let it work on them, to allow the discomfort to crack open the places that have been sealed for too long. You might be feeling this tension too, in your own way. Maybe it's showing up as impatience, a desire for something to finally happen, for the distance to close, for clarity to arrive. Maybe it's showing up as doubt, wondering if you've been imagining the connection, if you're foolish or believing in something that hasn't manifested in the ways you expected. Maybe it's showing up as exhaustion, a tiredness that comes from holding hope while simultaneously protecting yourself from disappointment. The angels want you to know that all of these feelings are valid, and all of them are part of the process. The tension you feel is the same tension your soulmate feels, and it exists because you're both being stretched beyond what you've known, beyond what feels safe, beyond what your past experiences have taught you to expect. This stretching is necessary. It's how you both become capable of holding what's coming. The truth is, the love that exists between you and your soulmate is bigger than the versions of yourselves you've been until now. It requires more courage, more honesty, more willingness to be seen in your totality. Not just the polished parts, but the scared parts, the scarred parts, the parts that don't know what they're doing. Tonight, your soulmate sat with that requirement, even if they didn't name it as such. They felt the magnitude of what it would mean to let you in fully, and that magnitude was overwhelming. The angels say this is the moment where many people turn back. This is where the familiar pain of loneliness starts to seem preferable to the unknown risk of intimacy. This is where the walls go back up, where the heart closes again, where the story returns to, I'm fine on my own, because that story is easier than, I want you and I'm terrified of wanting you. But your soulmate didn't turn back tonight. They thought about it. They considered it. They felt the pull of old patterns like gravity. But something held them in attention instead of letting them retreat. That something was you, not your physical presence, but the energetic reality of what you represent. You are proof to your soulmate that there's something worth the risk. You are evidence that not all vulnerability leads to pain. You are a mirror showing them that the parts of themselves they've hidden don't have to stay hidden forever. The angels arranged for your soulmate to see something tonight that reminded them of their own capacity for love. Maybe it was a memory that surfaced unexpectedly. Maybe it was a conversation that touched something true. Maybe it was a moment of beauty that cracked their defenses just enough to let light in. Whatever it was, it served the same purpose. To remind them that the tension they're feeling isn't a warning to run. It's an invitation to stay. If this resonates with something you've been feeling, a sense of being on the edge of change, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. The angels work through connection, and your sharing becomes part of the web that holds us all. The night ended with your soulmate lying in the dark, unable to sleep, feeling something they haven't felt in years. The terrifying, exhilarating sensation of hope mixed with uncertainty, of knowing something matters without knowing how it will unfold. This is the space where miracles are born, and the angels are holding both of you inside it with infinite tenderness. The angels want to speak to you directly now, to pull back the veil on what's been orchestrated, on what you couldn't see because you were standing inside it, from where they exist, beyond time, beyond the linear narrative you're living through. What happened today wasn't a single day at all. It was convergence, a moment where countless threads woven over months and years and lifetimes finally began to form a pattern visible enough for both you and your soulmate to glimpse. The angels have been working tirelessly on your behalf, not to control your choices, but to clear the debris that obscures them, to dissolve the illusions that keep you separate, to whisper truth into the moments when you're quiet enough to hear. They say that your soulmate's journey today, the awakening, the recognition, the tension, was not happening to them alone. It was happening between you, in the space you share, in the energetic field that's been growing stronger every time either of you thinks of the other with honesty rather than fantasy. The angels remind you that soulmate connections are not rewards for being perfect or spiritual enough. They're assignments from your soul, agreements made before you took form, commitments to help each other become more of who you truly are. This means a connection will push you both. It will ask you to face what you've been avoiding. It will illuminate the places where you're still playing small, or hiding, or pretending. And it will do all this not as punishment, but as invitation, as the most loving challenge you could receive, to show up as yourself completely and trust that you are enough. The angels see your soulmate's fear, and they hold it with compassion, just as they hold yours. They understand that the human experience is designed to make vulnerability feel dangerous, to make opening feel like risk, to make love feel like potential loss. But they also see what you can't see yet, that the love between you and your soulmate is not fragile. It's not something that will break if you don't perform perfectly or say the right words or manage your emotions flawlessly. It's already whole. It exists in a realm that isn't touched by your human anxieties, and your human journey is simply the process of lowering yourself down into that wholeness, of remembering what your souls already know. The angels arranged for you to find this message today because your soulmate's awakening created a ripple in the field, and you needed to understand what you were feeling. You've probably been sensing something, a shift in energy, a change in the undercurrent, a feeling that something is moving even if you can't see it yet. The angels confirm that your intuition is accurate. Something is moving. The distance between you and your soulmate is not measured in physical space or calendar days. It's measured in readiness, in willingness, in the degree to which you both healed enough to meet each other without projecting your wounds onto the connection. And today, that distance decreased. Today, your soulmate took a step closer to themselves, which is always a step closer to you. The angels want you to know that you don't have to do anything with this information. You don't have to reach out or make a move or force something to happen. In fact, they suggest you don't. What they're asking is that you trust. Trust that what's meant for you is already yours. Trust that the connection doesn't need your management, only your honesty. Trust that the angels are handling the timing and the details and the orchestration of moments in ways your human mind couldn't possibly coordinate. Your job is not to control the outcome. Your job is to stay open, to keep healing, to continue becoming a version of yourself that can hold this love when it arrives in form. The angels also want to address something they know you wonder about. Whether your soulmate is thinking of you the way you think of them, whether they feel what you feel, whether the connection is as real for them as it is for you. The answer is yes, but not always in ways that look like what you imagine. Your soulmate may not be thinking of you every moment, but they're feeling you in the texture of their days, in the quality of their loneliness, in the shape of the space they're holding for something they can't yet name. They may not be able to articulate what you mean to them, but their soul is rearranging their life to make room for you. The angels see this happening in real time, and they're asking you to trust the invisible work that's being done in both of your hearts. Before we continue, if you felt the presence of angels or divine timing in your own life, comment, "I trust" below. The angels hear every affirmation, and your word become part of the collective energy that supports everyone walking this path. The angelic perspective is that nothing is being withheld from you out of cruelty or randomness. Every delay is a deepening. Every moment of waiting is a moment of preparation. And the love you're moving toward is worth every second of the uncertainty you're moving through. So where does this leave you now? Sitting here with this knowledge, feeling the truth of it in your body even as your mind tries to find the edges, tries to make it concrete, tries to turn mystery into certainty? The angels say this is the work of integration, taking what you've learned about your soulmate's journey today and letting it change how you hold your own. Integration means you stop waiting for external evidence before you trust what you feel. It means you stop diminishing the connection because it hasn't manifested in the timeline you expected. It means you stop treating this as a maybe and start treating it as a knowing, even if the form that knowing will take remains unwritten. Your soulmate felt something seismic today, and whether they have language for it or not, whether they act on it immediately or not, it has already changed the trajectory of what's possible between you. You can integrate this by releasing the need for them to move at your pace, by honoring that their awakening is theirs to navigate, by trusting that the universe is not keeping you apart, but is instead preparing you both for a union that can hold its own depth. Integration also means tending to your own inner landscape with the same care the angels are tending to the space between you. It means looking at where you've been holding back, where you've been protecting yourself with cynicism or detachment, where you've been telling yourself stories about not being chosen because it feels safer than believing you could be. Your soulmate's recognition of connection today is asking you to recognize it too, not just as something beautiful that might happen someday, but as something that's already happening, already real, already weaving both your lives into a shared tapestry. The angels encourage you to live as if the love you want is already making its way to you, because it is. This doesn't mean pretending or forcing or denying reality. It means making choices from the place inside you that knows you're worthy of profound connection, that knows you're not foolish for wanting what you want, that knows the longing in your heart is there because fulfillment is possible. Live from that place. Create from that place. Love yourself from that place. And watch how the external world begins to mirror back the truth you're finally willing to claim. There's something else the angels want you to understand about what happened today. Your soulmate's experience was not an isolated event, but part of a larger pattern that's been building momentum. There have been other days, other moments, other small awakenings that you didn't know about because they happened in the privacy of your soulmate's inner world. But each one has been a step, a softening, a loosening of the grip that fear has had on their heart. Today was significant not because it was a first step, but because it was the step that crossed a threshold, the one where the movement became irreversible. The angels say that once someone begins to truly feel a soulmate connection, once they stop being able to dismiss it as imagination or projection, they can never fully go back to not knowing. Your soulmate now carries the awareness of you in a way they didn't before, and that awareness will continue to grow, to deepen, to ask for acknowledgement. You can integrate this by trusting the process even when it's invisible to you, even when days or weeks pass without obvious signs, even when your fear tries to convince you that nothing is happening. The angels are asking you to develop a kind of faith that doesn't depend on proof, a faith that rests on the solid ground of your own knowing, on the undeniable truth of what you feel when you let yourself feel it fully. This is not blind faith. This is the most clear-sighted thing you can do. To trust that your soul knows what it's doing, that it wouldn't call someone into your awareness this powerfully without reason, that the love you feel is not a trick or a test, but a truth you're being invited to build your life around. The video ends here, but the story doesn't. What the angels showed you today about your soulmate's experience is just one frame in a much longer unfolding. There are more awakenings coming, more moments of recognition, more instances where the walls come down and the truth gets closer to the surface. You don't need to know when or how. You just need to stay present, stay open, and keep choosing love over fear in your own heart. The angels will handle the rest. And they're asking you to trust that what's yours is already finding its way home.